Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today's an exciting day for us. It's Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, and we are here at our house. We've been cooking this morning. I've got some video content I'll upload it real soon. We did some pineapple upside down muffins and bundt cakes. It was really fun. And I got a visitor this morning. My daughter, my oldest girl, came home this morning. She tried to trick me. She got on the road really early this morning and was driving, and she got here before 7 o'clock this morning. We are excited to have her here. So I thought I'd get her on camera and just say, hey everybody. But I was going through some comments last week, and another YouTuber by the name of Miser Junelle had tagged my channel, and she asked me to be a part of her collab, and it's called Will Debt Do Us Part? And the basis, she gave me a little bit of background. The basis of this is two people coming together, talking about their financial situation and their debt situation, and depending on what my debt is versus your debt or that other person's debt, will that keep us apart? Well, as most of you know, I'm a single mom, and at the moment I'm not with anyone. I'm praying that the Lord would send him in his timing. So she said maybe you could come at it from your perspective. So I don't have a mate per se to talk about this, but I can give you the perspective from someone who is praying for a spouse and how having debt can or cannot affect that joining together of two individuals. And so I'm going to give you the older perspective. And then my daughter is here. I asked her to join me. She's going to give you the perspective from the 26-ish, 25-ish, you know, her age group perspective. So we're going to start with the question. She had quite a few questions. I'll list all those questions down in the description box so that you can see what the questions were, and kind of maybe if you're not with someone, or maybe you are with someone, maybe you're married and you never really asked these questions of yourself or your spouse or your significant other, or you're engaged and you want to be married, maybe there's some things here that would help you kind of on your debt freedom journey. And so we're going to jump into the questions. If you have any comments, please leave us a comment down there. We'd be happy to answer whatever questions that you might have. So the first question she says is, if you have debt, how much do you have? And so I will answer first. Is that okay? Okay, I'll answer first. I have about $8,800 worth of debt for me, and that's not including my home. Everybody knows I just bought a house about 6 months ago. But in all total, I have about $8,800 worth of debt, and that is from a school loan that I've been paying off since I graduated college. So that's the remaining of my debt. I do not owe debt on my vehicle. I do not owe debt on any credit cards. I don't own a credit card. So the only active debt I have is about $8,800. And 5 years ago I took a class called Financial Peace University with Dave Ramsey, and that really helped to get me on my debt freedom journey. And so I'm still on that journey. I'm still working on baby step number 1. I've been on baby step number 1 quite a few times, but when things kind of come up in your life, you just have to revert back and start all over again. So I am working on baby step number 1, but for me, I have about $8,800 worth of debt. That's just a college school loan.
So I have
this is going to be reveal time because Mama don't know none of this.
I only have $358.
Woo! Hey, high five that up, sister.
And that came from
nice.
A study abroad application that was $400. So other than that, like, my car's paid for. I don't have any student loans. I'm actually going to school for free. I get scholarships. So
a lot of people ask me about my children, and I think since I've started my debt freedom journey about 5 years ago, it was ultra important for me to teach my children. They were still at home. Well, she wasn't at home at that point, but I was still telling her, hey, I'm taking this class and this is what we're doing, and why don't you think about it? And I think I remember us having our first conversation about the emergency fund. I'm like, hey, you're going to need this because things might come up. And my oldest son was still at home at the time. He was about 15, and so I started talking to him a little bit more. And then in high school, he took a class called personal finance, and that had a lot to do with the fact that I was trying to give them the tools not to be in debt at my age. So that's question number 1.
Okay, so can I add something to
Add
that?
something to that.
Okay, so I don't particularly care for debt because I'm not married as well. However, I would like to be married, and so I feel like when I go into a marriage, I want to bring something to it, not kind of cause it to,
Cause that undue stress and pressure
right
prematurely.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
The next question she asks is, do you budget? And then give yourself a grade A through F on how you do with that budget. So if you follow my channel for any length of time, or I do have some budget videos on my channel, I've been budgeting very faithfully for the last 5 years. I use the Dave Ramsey zero-base budget with cash envelopes. I do my budget every month. I do it about the last day or 2 of the month, because I get paid once a month, the last working day of the month. And then I immediately do my budget. I do my cash envelopes, and that's what carries me over to the next month. So probably on budgets, I give myself an A because I do them every month. And I actually pull up the budgets. I have them as far back as 2011 when I first started doing the budget. So I do give myself an A on budgets. But sometimes I have to borrow from different categories just to kind of make it all work out for the month for us. But I do budget faithfully.
Well.
Mm-hmm.
On the budget, I'm gonna go with the like C. Maybe a D plus.
Okay.
No, a C.
Okay.
A C. No, because so I don't. The cash envelopes, all that good system that she uses, it's great, and I don't use any of that. I just kind of take my paycheck and I write out all my bills, and what is left is what I have until I get paid again. So that's kind of the budget. I can't spend more than I have. So I don't ever set a set number aside for food or clothes.
And I set aside a set number. I go to zero base every month. There's nothing left in my prospective month's category. Every penny is accounted for on my budget sheet, and I do that budget sheet every month faithfully. How do you pay your bills? That was another question. I pay my bills online. The majority of my bills are paid online. My mortgage, my light bill, my water bill, my cable bill, which I'm only paying for internet, but that goes to Time Warner Cable. Those are the main bills that I have. So I pay those online. I pay them every month as soon as I get my paycheck. Even my children that take Taekwondo, they take Taekwondo once every month. I pay their tuition online. I don't write out checks. I don't do anything. My cell phone bill, I pay through my telephone. And I do have days that I pay things. The only thing I think I don't pay right at the time it's due is my cell phone, because that's not due until the middle of the month. So I just kind of wait until it's just about to come due, and then I pay it, although I have the money for it. But all of my bills I pay when I get paid, because I only get paid once a month. So I try not to hold anything out. I try to be as current as possible. And I will say thank the Lord and praise God that I have been able to be current. What I've gotten, what has started happening lately for me that has not happened before is I'm now getting credit card offers in the mail, which I never would get before, because when I was married, there was debt there, and when he left the marriage, I still was carrying the debt. Even years after we were divorced, I was still carrying the debt, because my thought was, I made this debt with this individual. It's my responsibility. It's our responsibility to pay it. But if he so chooses to not do his part, I'm still liable and responsible. And so I carried that, and through prayer and hard work and the Lord and Dave Ramsey and Financial Peace, I've been able to totally be debt free, with the exception of that school loan that I'm paying for. So that's how I do my bills.
Okay, so I do my bills again online, but I do them on paper first. So I start with how much I got paid, you know, at the top, and then I list all my bills, and then I just check them off as I pay them off online. So rent's paid online. I have a roommate, so we kind of split Wi-Fi and lights. She just takes the difference of the Wi-Fi and gives me the lights. Does that make sense? So we do that. So I just pay lights online. I don't worry about Wi-Fi because she takes care of it. Water is included. Well, it's attached to the rent, so I don't have to worry about that. Online again, my insurance comes out online, and everything is online for me. My phone is a straight talk, so I just go to Walmart and get that every 30 days. So
her next question was, how much do you think your monthly household costs are? Probably for us, you know, I budget for $2,600 every month. My insurance, the way I deal with my car and my homeowner's insurance, are all lumped into one because we did the bundle. I have myself and my son on my insurance, my oldest son, but he pays his own insurance because it is a lot more, but he would be able to get a discount if we bundled it. So because he does not live at home, he lives away from home, but it's still cheaper for him to bundle with me. And so we pay our insurance every 6 months, so we don't pay it once a month, and that is a requirement for him being on my insurance because that's how I pay my insurance. I don't have a brand new car or even a newer car, but it is paid for, and for me it just works out best to pay 6 months at a time, and then I don't have to worry about that extra monthly expense. So I budget out for about $2,600 every month just in personal finances, but that also includes food and clothes and my kids' karate and all their other little things that we might have.
For me, it's definitely not $2,600 because I don't have a house. So it's gonna be,
she's thinking. Maybe she brain.
it's like, I would say max 700.
Oh,
But it's like 600 though.
but you have a roommate.
Yeah.
So if you didn't have a roommate, it would probably be
about 1,000.
About 1,000 because you split the rent.
Right.
And
So rent's like 400. My insurance is 100. Lights are usually $50. Phone bill's 45. And that's about all the bills I have. That's all the bills. So that's like 600. Do count my math, y'all. I'm sorry. I have a 4.0. I do know how to add, but right now it fails me. Okay. Some people might be throwing shade.
don't throw any shade. Wear your shades. What do you spend the most money on? For us, I know that's definitely food. When you have been really tight in your budget, and I grew up where my grandparents made sure we ate, but we didn't have luxuries in food. We had necessities. We had staples: beans, rice, potatoes, corn. You know, we ate deer meat and rabbit, and because I grew up on a small farm. And then when I got married, we were not the most financially stable, so sometimes we struggled with having enough for food and different things like that. So for me to make sure that my kids are well fed, that's probably where I spend the majority of my money. I do coupon very heavily to make sure that they have what they need. But I also have a need to break my grocery money down into weeks so that I can get that personal payoff from shopping. I do enjoy going to the grocery store. It's probably the thing I enjoy most about anything other than cooking. I do love to go to the grocery store. So for me, I'm going to take that time to make sure that my kids are well fed. And then if I have an event or a church thing or something like that, I want just as many people attending that to be well fed as well. So I'm going to put the extra money there.
It's food for me. Fast food. It's convenient.
It's not that you are fasting.
It's that I'm eating fast food. Yes, right. Because it's like, okay, being in college, having 2 jobs, 3 jobs in college, you're on the go all the time. And I can try to grocery shop all day long. And I do try. I do. But actually cooking it, there's the problem. So, I mean, we're like Bojangles. They got the $5, 2-piece with the side item and the drink. I mean, it's the whole 9 yards. So,
done.
Right there.
Right there.
$2 at the gas station get you about 2 taquitos and something to drink, and you good to go. Like,
oh my goodness.
So if I added up how much I spent on fast food, I'd be doing good. Maybe I wouldn't be $358.
Maybe that would be good. So maybe that's an area to think about.
Yeah.
What is the biggest pet peeve when it comes to money? You want to go first? I've been going first.
Oh, my biggest pet peeve when it comes to money? That's a difficult question. I think, for me, this is a bit personal, and I want to say this correctly. And hear my heart. Know my heart. I'm not saying this maliciously. But my biggest pet peeve when it comes to money is people who complain about money, but their parents are paying their bills. Like, okay, so I'm in college again, but I'm an adult student, so I am responsible for rent, lights, water, gas, all of that shebang. And then I have friends who are like, oh my gosh, I don't have no money, but you live in a dorm, your parents are paying for your education, and you don't have any expense. What are you doing? You know what I mean? And so I'm like, why are you complaining? Because I'm like out here working 8 jobs, and you are just posted up, I think that's kind of complaining.
Let me jump in here and say this, because I feel like I need to give a disclaimer here. When I was growing up, my grandparents told us one specific thing. I was raised by my grandparents. They said, you can live here as long as you want to, but when you move out, you're done. There's no coming back. There's no trying to, hey, I didn't make it, I failed, I need somewhere to go. That was just not what we were allowed to do. It wasn't that we weren't allowed to fail. We had to figure out our failure. So things being one way or the other, I've been on my own since I was 17 years old. And I don't mean on my own with a roommate. I was on my own at 17, living in public housing, doing the best I knew how to do. I was going to be turning 18 in a couple weeks. And that's just how it was. And I had to make my way. I had to work part-time. I was going to school. In college, I was working work study. And that's just how I had to do it. And I had to, as a close friend of mine would say, pull myself up by my bootstraps. I didn't have anybody to lean on and depend on. I couldn't call anybody and say, hey, I don't have X, Y, and Z. Can you help me? It was, how are you going to go get this money? And I had to work. I worked since I was 14 years old. I worked summer jobs. And then I worked at Kmart. That was my very first job when I was 16 years old. And then after that, I went to college, and then I did work study jobs on campus. And then I became, a teacher. So with my children, and I said all that to say, with my children, I'm always asking them, what is your plan? Because at 18, you have to have a plan. Now, I don't want you to have the plan at 18. We're working our way up to the plan, because you can't stay here. Not because I don't love my children and I don't want them here, but they must experience some independence minus mom, minus me. They've got to know what it's like to put their budget together and spend their money. And they got to know what it's like to come up short and figure it out in a healthy and productive type of way. My children work. My son called me one morning. He's like, Mom, it's 2 a.m. and I'm at work. That's where you need to be, because you got bills or whatever it is you have. So I'm trying to help them establish themselves as individuals. Partially for my daughter, I know she desires to be in a relationship. I desire marriage, but I don't want to bring into marriage bad habits where I'm expecting somebody else to get me out. Yes, we will be a partnership, but I do want him to understand that I plan to partner with him. I'm gonna bring my stuff to the table, he brings his stuff to the table, and then we work it out as best as we can. that fits both of our styles, personalities, family situations. Probably an individual I meet at this age is going to have children. He may have little children like me, or maybe not, but he still has responsibilities. So I'm looking to see how is he taking care of his responsibilities, to know how he's going to help me. And then I hope he would be looking at how I'm doing it to see how I would be able to help him. And so I'm trying to teach my kids that. Now, I will help my kids, but it's not easy to get help from me. Not partially because I don't want to, but I'm still raising little kids. I still have small children. So I still have added responsibilities with them. So I just wanted to make that clearer, because I didn't want her to sound like, you know, she was just angry. This is how she was raised, because it's how I was raised. What is the most you are willing to spend on a car?
For me, 20,000. That's like the max. I'm not trying to get it. Like, give me a nice little Honda, Toyota, some little reliable car. Because as soon as you drive it off the lot, it's going to depreciate.
Yeah.
I mean, and my car's paid for. I have a 2006 Scion XB, so I'm trying to ride it till the wheels fall off. And when they fall off, I'm trying to put them back on and ride them some more. So I'm really not trying to get, no, I don't need a Cadillac. I don't need any of that. I can even give me a bust me up. If it's going to get me to point A from point B, I'm good. I'm okay with that.
I have a 2001 Toyota Camry, and my car is paid for. I bought it used. It had about 79,000 miles. I actually got a good deal. It's an older couple who came in, and actually their children made them get a newer car. But it only had 79,000 miles on it. It's way more than that now, simply because I drive a lot for my job and then with my kids and stuff. But my car is paid for. I had a little bit of money set aside, and then I pulled some out of my 401k to make up the difference. And then I was able to just go in and pay cash for my car. And then I was able to pay myself back my 401k, which is now restored because my car is officially paid off. So I'm not willing to do any more than 12 to 15. And I really don't want to have a car payment. So again, I'm in the mindset that if you take good care of your vehicle will take good care of you. I keep my oil changed, I get my tires rotated, I do all the service maintenance that I need on my vehicle, and it has really not put me down. So I'm good with that. But if I had to say between 12 and 15, I really would like a van, simply because the kids and I travel a lot. They have their gear and everything is just kind of in our car. Sometimes it feels like we live in our car, and I just like to live in a much bigger space, but that is going to incur debt for me, and I just don't feel like at this time that's something I should be doing. So that is where we are. Let's see. What is the most you are willing to spend on, like, a couch? And do you finance your couch or shoes? Or shoes. That was her question. Shoes. Couch or shoes. Financing your couch or shoes.
I'm not financing no type of shoes. None. Zero. If I got to finance. Okay, so this is kind of my mentality when I think about stuff. If I cannot pay cash for it, I generally don't get it. Because I can't personally, debt brings me anxiety. Yeah. And I can't function like that. So I have to, like, think about what's above the line.
Right.
Dave Ramsey.
Above the line.
I mean, if it's food, if it's healthcare, something like that, that's above the line. I feel like a couch is below the line, and maybe you can explain the line. But a couch, no. My Bible says, "Give and it shall be given," and somebody gave me 2 free couches. So praise God.
Nice.
So I'm gonna ride them till they fall apart, and then reupholster.
This is amazing. Pardon that sound. We are baking pies in the oven, so that is the oven letting us know. I will say this. I am definitely a Dave Ramsey die-hard supporter of pay cash. And I say that to say this. When I moved into this house, I'd had the furniture that I'd had. It was actually some furniture that we had gotten when she moved into her very first apartment. And my couches were relatively smaller, and then hers were extremely larger, and I had the bigger family, so we switched, and she got the smaller furniture and I took her larger furniture. But it had been a hand me over from some other wonderful people who helped her furnish her first apartment. She got her first apartment. She didn't have a lick of furniture in it. We went through the process together. But some friends of ours from the church and different community members, we sent out emails and like, hey, anybody got anything? I mean, we were getting it all. And then I had a key to her apartment, so we went in and we had the guys moving, and she had a couch and a bed and all the kitchen stuffs and everything. And she came home because she knew she didn't have any furniture. She was just happy to have a place to live. So she opens the door and her apartment is fully furnished, and she was just so over the moon. We were thankful that people really helped her out. But I had that furniture, and I was perfectly fine bringing that furniture to the new house, but I really wanted something that was mine, that was personal. I either had the furniture when I got married, or I had the hand-me-over furniture. So I went into a store called Big Lots, and they had a lovely charcoal gray couch and love seat that I really wanted. It was about $700-800. I had the cash because I had gotten income tax money back, and I knew that I needed to have moving expenses and things. And so I went to get it, and there was a waiting list. There were like 14 people waiting for that couch, and I refused to wait for a couch. So I got really smart. I went to Walmart.com, not sponsored by Walmart, but I'm telling you, Walmart will change your life. I went to Walmart.com, and I started searching couches. I was like, Lord, you got to help me. And I pray about stuff. He's like, why you got to pray to the Lord for your couch? Listen, pray to the Lord for your couch, please, okay? And so I actually found the Better Homes and Garden charcoal gray couch and love seat. It came in 2 boxes. It came in 4 boxes. My couch came in a box, and the kids and I got it home. We put it together ourselves, and I think I paid about $700-800 for the 2 pieces. It does well for us. I can't rationalize in my head to pay interest for something to sit on. That's just not me. Even if I had to go to Goodwill or try to thrift it out or get a hand-me-over, I'm okay with that. I've been in debt. I've been in a lot of debt, and I don't want to go back there. That's not healthy for me and my family. It's not healthy wanting to join my life with somebody, bringing all of that stress and financial pressure into their life. I'm not saying I'm coming into it totally debt-free, or they will come into it totally debt-free. But what I'm saying is, as best to my ability, then I'm going to try to not bring it in to a union.
Right.
Just a few more questions. Will you bail me out of jail?
No, not jail. It's like,
bail you out, not out of jail. Don't go to jail, because I'm not.
In terms of debt, if I come up short, are you gonna bail me out?
No, no.
That's the truth, y'all. It's the truth.
But here's why. I didn't get you there,
right?
So I'm not gonna get you out. But as the mom, what I am going to do is walk you through the process of debt freedom. I'm going to ask you, what's your plan? How long do you have to get? What is your plan to get out? How long do you foresee it's going to get you out? Now, if it's an emergency case, yes, myself and my son, we always come to the rescue of one another. And that's just how we roll as a family, because we are family first. But if I didn't get you there, then I'm going to watch you go through. I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to give you some strategies. I'm going to send you some encouraging scriptures that the Lord has said for you to be the lender and not the borrower. And I need for you to really kind of pull yourself up. That's just me. Now,
well, I'll say this. Our family is very autonomous. So we all are pretty independent. So if it comes to the point that somebody is like asking for money, that means it's really serious, right? Because it does not happen often. We can count on maybe one hand how many times that has happened in the span of how many years we've been working now for 10 years?
Yeah.
So it's serious, because all of us are like basically programmed to, you supposed to have your stuff all together.
Yeah.
Like, and when I was first getting back on my feet after, going out in the world for a little while and failing miserably, I was actually in debt at that point, about $3,000
for the computer.
But then I started working 2 jobs. I worked like 80 hours a week to get myself out of debt, because
she did.
I could not function underneath that people calling me. I owe this, I owe that. I can't think straight. So,
I never want to have to not answer my phone because I owe somebody.
Right.
And I'm not saying I haven't done that, because that has happened before. But in this current state that I'm in now, nobody's calling me. I'm not ducking the mailman because the bill collect. You know, none of that, because I've just worked to get myself squared away to the point.
Yeah. So I think basically the fact for her not to bail me out was good, because when I came back over here, she again asked me, well, what was my plan? She basically wouldn't like really take me to work. I had to like figure it out. She wouldn't take me to go get my car. I had to figure it out. But I thank her, hindsight, for it.
She didn't thank me then.
Yes, I hated her at that point.
She did not thank me.
I hated her.
I was public enemy.
With every fiber of my being, I hated her. Because I was like, you are just an awful parent.
She did. She said, you are awful. Very awful and terrible. Yes, she did.
I did. But now she said, and one important thing, she said, if I bail you out, how will you ever learn to depend on God? And I mean, that thing changed my life.
Praise the Lord.
And I started depending on the Lord, and he brought me out. Oh, the miry clay. Okay.
Yes.
He brought me out. So it's a method to the madness.
It is a method. And I think it's my responsibility as her parent to teach her, not necessarily to always bail her out. And I'm not saying they haven't bailed me out, because last year at this time, we were talking about this the other day, I didn't have money for Christmas. So this is not like I'm there and I have arrived and all of that. Last year around this time, some things happened and came up, and there was not going to be any additional finances to get anything for the little kids. And so I called her, I texted her and my son. I said, listen, this is where I am. I need some help for the little kids. And they came in. My son, I remember him coming in the day after Thanksgiving. He went to Black Friday, and he went out and he bought them. And when Christmas even came, my older kids, there was nothing for them under the tree. Nothing. I didn't have nothing for them. And I said, this is where Mom is. I love you, but I don't have. And they were like, Mom, it's okay. And I know they felt some type of way, but they didn't make me feel like they felt some type of way. I felt some type of way.
It was all right. As long as the little kids had, I was good.
And that was our goal at that point, was to make sure they were okay. We don't split household costs, but I think when you're talking about a husband and a wife, I don't think for me, there's no split.
Right.
There's a pot.
Right.
And everything goes in together and everything comes out together. Now, because I do zero-based budgeting, I do allow myself what I call blow money, or what Dave Ramsey calls blow money. So, of course, I would have that separate individual money just in my envelope for myself, and my husband, if he chose to have that, would have that. But I don't believe in separate accounts. I don't believe in individual, you do your thing and I don't know what's happening. I think if you just put it in one general location, then we just discuss what needs to happen as a collective group. And then that just works. Again, that's what I feel and believe based on how I understand the Word of God, which I believe in having biblical finances. That just works for me. As it is, I don't know if I'm still on your account, but I'm still on my son's account just in case he needs me to make decisions for him. I used to be on her account back when she was a little bit younger, but I don't have to be there. I need them to be independent. But because she's not married and I'm not married and my son is not married, we're all we have. So we need to be able to have access to each other's things in case she's sick and I need to pay a bill, or she can't tell me, and then, well, you're not on her account, you can't make decisions. For that type of purpose, I was on her account before and I am on my son's account now. And he actually started out with his checking and savings through my account. So all of his stuff is still kind of just underneath that, although he now has the actual checking account. Who pays for the wedding, and do you finance the ring?
This is a fun one. Okay, so
I am not having fun.
Finance the ring. Okay, you can finance the ring, baby boy. You can finance it and propose, and we can get married after the ring is paid for. Like, I just cannot
she feels some type of way.
Walk down the aisle, get married to you, because here's why, because I don't believe in two separate accounts either. So it's like, if the ring ain't paid for, I'm essentially paying for my own ring. No, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not. No. And I could be called shallow. Sorry, but I ain't doing it. So I need the ring to be paid for before we get married. So,
and I am very old-fashioned and traditional. Don't let the makeup and the clothes, y'all, I thrift. This is drugstore makeup. This is a thrift. No, I didn't even thrift this. Somebody gave me this shirt. And people look at me and they say, you just seem to be so high maintenance. That is very much not true. I do like to look nice. I do like my house to look nice, but almost everything in the house was from a thrift store. You just upcycle it and make it look better. So for me, I don't have to have diamonds and rubies and all of that. I would much prefer to have the person than the ring. The ring does signify our coming together. I'm okay with a gold band. I'm okay with whatever he feels he wants to give me. But to think that we have to finance something so astronomical, that is a waste to me. I'd rather put that money towards paying debt or getting a bigger house, or maybe we need a newer vehicle or something. If I'm bringing my family together and he's bringing his family together, then let's think that more so than we think about the ring. And the wedding, again, I've been married before. I had a very small, intimate wedding the first time. That's my plan. The second time, I do not wish to have more than that. I just don't feel it necessary. But whatever we do, I want us to do it together, be in agreement on it.
Yeah. So, now, who pays for the wedding? I'm kind of older. I'm 26, almost 27. So I feel like we pay for the wedding. We being he and I. We, us. I also believe that because, like, keeping in mind my mama is a single mom and she does have 2 kids in the home. You know what I mean? I don't want to put that burden on her, like to say, Mom, I need you to pay. Because traditionally, the bride's family pays for the wedding. And let me just tell you, like, our family, like, we're the immediate of us all, we are autonomous and okay, like, we ain't balling or nothing. I mean, it gets tight sometimes, but we are all able to keep afloat. And I would never want to put her in a position where she felt like she was underfloat for a wedding. No.
Well, and as her mom, there are things that I would love to be able to do for her. Again, I'm not getting married, so for that to be my responsibility, I think when you put your money into it, you care more about it. So for me to put thousands of dollars into your wedding, I don't know what your responsibility in that is going to be. There are some things that I've asked God to help me do for her and him whenever he comes or whoever he is. But that's their thing. And so I have to buy into, I'm training her on how to do it and she's going to know. And I'm going to put a little bit there for her and do, you know, specific things. But again, it's their thing. We just have a couple more questions and then we're done. If necessary, can family stay with you? Not here. I have a rule, and this is hardcore. It's not changing. They can come for a visit. VISIT. That's your limit.
That's it.
I'm used to my space. I'm used to my rules. I'm used to my things. Even when she comes here now, she doesn't stay with us because she just is used to her things, her space, her rules. So she stayed. She's welcome. My kids are welcome. They are what this is their home. But family members, extended people, see, I just think grown people should raise themselves. And I'm going to help you. What's your plan?
Right.
Let's write it out.
Right.
My sister actually moved to the same town where I live last year, and my question to her is, okay, what's your plan? How do you plan to do this? And I just sit with her. I'm relatively older than her, so I sit with her and I just ask her questions, and that's been more helpful than to have her come, or anybody to come and live with me. And when you've been on your own before, it's difficult to rejoin somebody. So for me, it's a no.
Right. We do take the visit rule pretty seriously. I mean, we joke about it, but it's
pretty
really
serious,
understood. Like, Mom, I love you. You can come and visit.
Yeah.
But then after that, you got to G.O. You got to go. So,
quickly.
I don't know how I feel about family staying with me. Like, that makes me nervous even thinking about marriage, because he's gonna have a family. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna like let somebody sleep in the cold.
No.
But I'm gonna need you to have a plan.
Yeah,
I need you to have a 90-day like plan. And then especially if you staying with us and you don't pay bills, you will be cleaning something. You will. The house should not be dirty because you ain't doing nothing. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I think there's a give and take. If you do that, then what is going to happen while I'm working? Are you job hunting? Are you helping out with meals? Are you helping with the kids? You know, am I going to have to continue to pay for childcare because you're here? So I think there's a give and take in there somewhere.
Worst case scenario, I would say 6 months, and that's just pushing it.
I'm on a 5-day visit. Ooh, whew, Lord. Out of the people you know who manages money the best,
this guy. This guy, she can budget her behind off.
I have to make my ends meet, and I can't. That's my reasonable service to my family. If I'm mismanaging my money, then they can't do the things that they want to do, and I feel like that's wrong on my part. So I do the best I can, but my kids do well. They do. They listen to me. They don't always do what I tell them, but they listen. So that's as best as I can hope for. And then who manages the worst? Trandon. My son. My son has 75 pairs of Nikes like he needs them. But I go to the thrift store and I just got boots for $4.79. I'm good with that. But he doesn't have expenses. He doesn't have kids. He's not married. He can do whatever he wants to do. Where he lives rent free, and it works good. He is okay. Something I regret buying. I don't have any regrets. I live with no regrets, actually.
I probably wouldn't have bought my car just because I bought it in Hawaii, so it was a little overpriced for the year. So I could have had like $4,000 extra somewhere, but whatever. It's all good. Yeah. It gets me. Sheba gets me where I need to go.
She does.
We're good now.
So anyway, those were all the questions. I'm going to link those. I'm going to list those questions down in the description box. I just want to thank my girl for being with me and helping me go through this. Miser Junelle, thank you so much for tagging me on this collab. I'm excited about it. I'm glad that we were able to do it. I hope somebody's picked up some tips from us. Again, if you have any questions, let us know. Give our video a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.